Okay, let's get started. It's almost 12:01. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining in on this Monday. I've been noticing it's a hectic week. So I got family in town. There are events that are happening, and on the one hand I look at this and I'm like, oh, these are all very first world problems, that you're worried about, who's coming over when, and is this taken care of and that taken care of. And then the reality is my nervous system doesn't know the difference, between this and something, I don't know, maybe more serious. So there's this automatic tendency to, for me at least, to go and diminish this. Oh, you shouldn't be worried about this, and this shouldn't be um, so challenging, and so on and so forth. I'm guessing many of you guys know that experience. And so what I'm noticing, that my default mode of tackling complexity is this thing that many of us try to do, and it's called multitasking. And I'll define multitasking as the capacity to attend to and process more than one piece of information and then perform multiple tasks concurrently. That's a mouthful. So it is the ability to notice that there are several different things going on. Oftentimes that's unconscious, and then the ability to try to actually address or perform some kind of cognitive or physical, you know, uh, task at the same time. Now, many people say that multitasking is a myth, that it doesn't actually exist, and I'll talk about that in a second. That really what we're doing is we're just bouncing back and forth from one task to the next and then back to the other one. So we call that serial monotasking. But I think the concept I want to introduce here is the notion of complexity of the task. So for example, I can chew gum and I can walk at the same time, and I can even come to my front door and chew my gum and open the front door with a key, right? So those are two very distinct tasks. Now, if I increase the complexity of one of the tasks, so I'm chewing gum and now it's dark out and I have, let's say, a key set that isn't mine. I borrowed it from someone, and I'm looking at it going like, gosh, I don't know what the order of the keys are and I don't know what the key looks like. Chances are good that I might find myself actually stopping the gum chewing while I'm trying to, in poor light, and maybe I'll get on my iPhone now and I'm shining the light on it and trying to figure out which key is what, right? So that's the brain's natural way of saying, too much, zero in on this one thing and just try to accomplish that. And we do this all the time, right? So we can drive our car, we can listen to music. Now, if we start driving our car and texting or doing other things, now it gets a little dicier. So we move from this sort of multitasking ability to this serial monotasking concept. And so what I'd like to invite us to do today is become more aware of the illusion of us or multitasking, and when does it actually become more akin to like serial monotasking, meaning we are doing this thing and we're doing that thing, and then maybe we'll jump back to this thing, and it happens so quickly that there's this illusion that we're multitasking, when in reality we're switching back and forth and bouncing back and forth between different tasks. And the reason that's relevant, especially in the holidays, is it's exhausting. The brain only has so much capacity to do the switching. We call it a switching cost, and at some point we just feel worked and worn out, and then we get grumpy and whatever other stuff happens. So I thought let's see if we can become clear about how the mind works in that, when we're in the space where we're being challenged to do lots of things at the same time. So let's start by closing our eyes. Just notice, the only instruction I gave was close your eyes. Notice what happens in the body. We close our eyes. Maybe it feels soothing on some level. Maybe it feels a little bit agitating because now we become more aware of our internal state. And in the spirit of mindfulness, the idea is to welcome all of it. So just stay open. If there's chaos in your mind right now, that's okay. That's just chaos in the mind. If there's blissful calm and equanimity, wonderful. Just notice that. The reality is most of us are somewhere in between and it's constantly changing. And so in this moment, the idea of mindfulness means taking a stance of witnessing all of it as it is and allowing it to be, and see if we can notice the part of us that sometimes places demands on life, on reality, and says, yeah, I need things to be this way in order for me to be okay. Other people should do this, or I shouldn't, fill in the blank. And see if you can just notice any or all of that playing itself out. The connection between attention and multitasking, or attention and serial monotasking, it's a really tight connection. Because wherever our attention goes, as it sort of flits about and it jumps from this thing to that thing to the next thing, again, it has massive repercussions on our behavior, on our biology. And so this capacity to just take a step back, notice all of that as it's happening without reacting. It's a superpower. The more we practice it, the better we get. And the better we get, the freer we feel. So maybe do a sort of a high level assessment of how are you doing right now in the context of the holidays, whatever that means to you. Is it stressful? Is it blissful? Is it relaxing and connecting? Does it evoke loneliness and a sense of separation? Maybe all of the above as we bounce from one state to the next. And see if in this moment we can just allow it all to be as it is. And the intention of this meditation is in part to invite you to notice where in your life, right here, right now, today, and this coming week, where's the edge where you go from the illusion of multitasking, just bouncing back and forth, this thing we call monotasking, serial monotasking. Notice how stressful that can be. There's always a cost to it. Go from this to that to the other thing, maybe back to the first thing. If I do that all day long, at some point in the afternoon, I feel exhausted and empty. What would it be like to just do one thing at a time, be fully present for the thing I'm doing right now, and trust that by the time I get to the next thing, I'll figure it out. Be there with presence and love and open heartedness, and then I'll address that. We are going to bounce from one conversation to the next, from one interaction to the next, one activity to the next. It's just the way things are. And the question is, can we really be fully present and mindful of each of those moments rather than frenetically trying to pretend that we can do them all at the same time and that we can do them well at the same time? So right now, we're just sitting, being, and trusting that whatever is meant to happen in 5 minutes from now, we'll deal with it when we get there. But for right now, we're just sitting and breathing. Let's do this really well together right now. Go ahead and take a deep breath in together through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Dropping your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, your hands, the belly. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. And letting go, relaxing the belly, the chest, shoulders, the hands. Hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes, come on back to the session. I I think what I'm relearning for the umpteenth time is that, with all humility, I think there's just an element of, especially in the holidays, there's some franticness and speediness, and that's just stuff that happens. I think the more we can keep meeting it with an open-mindedness, um, a mindfulness-based open-mindedness, I think the better it all works. Anyway, so this is an invitation to just notice when you're trying to do too much at once, and see if you can just slow it down and say, you know what, I'm going to do this one thing really well right now, and then I'll get to the next thing when I get there. Hope that makes sense to you. So take care, everyone.